Welcome to Season 2 of the IRWIN Tools Cup Series. We are here at the Watkins Glen International Raceway for Race 5, as we have 3 races left to decide the chase field. 36 cars are entered in today's race, and we are at the only stop at a road course, as we're going to complete 10 laps around this 11-turn speedway, and it should be really exciting, as this is really the true wild card in the IRWIN Tools Cup Series. Anything can happen here, and we have AJ Allmendinger starting out front. Remember, he won Sonoma, so anything can and will happen. So we are going to get a look at your starting lineup for today's Cheese at 355. On the pole, Brad Keselowski put up a fast lap, and Carl Edwards, who's on the bubble of making the chase or not. AJ Allmendinger has really one good shot at making the chase, and Kyle Busch, who was locked in by a win in Atlanta. Denny Hamlin, he's also on the bubble, and Kyle Larson, he's got a little bit of a cushion. Joey Logano, he is right on the bubble as well. Truex says, well, both of them need good runs today. Tony Stewart pretty much in a must-win situation, and Kurt Busch, who is very strong in the points. Matt Kenseth won big at New Hampshire last weekend, and Jamie McMurray right alongside. He's just a little bit outside. Kevin Harvick, the points leader, looks pretty solid, and Ryan Newman, who needs some late season magic. Jeff Gordon not running for points. Austin Dillon, though, is in right now, barely. Ryan Blaney and Chase Elliott, both of them have had rough seasons, but you never know. They could get back up there. Casey Kane, who has a solid spot on points, surprisingly, and Jimmy Johnson, who won at Auto Club. Paul Menard and Greg Biffle, 2 people that are hoping maybe for a rain cloud or something. Clint Boyer, who's just waiting to enter the 14 car at Stuart Haas, and Michael McDowell, who's hoping to get some luck. Casey Mears and Eric Almirola, maybe something can happen to get a top 20. Danica Patrick, I don't know what's going to happen there, and Regan Smith as well. Ricky Stenhouse and Chris Buescher pretty much are just hoping for maybe a short track or something, I don't know. Trevor Bayne, Landon Castle, not much to look forward for them to get in. Brian Scott, who's probably just getting ready to retire. Jeffrey Earnhardt, trying to get a better ride. David Reagan, who's just ready to go to front row, and Matt DiBenedetto, who's ready to go to the 32. And so the honorary starter today is Auto Trader 23 Cup Series, and he's going to lead us down. Green flag is in the air, lap 1 out of 10. They head down. Brad Keselowski takes a strong lead heading through, as now they're on to the bus stop. Carl Edwards and Keselowski are even as they head down. As they make that right-handed turn, Keselowski clears him, and Brad Keselowski, it looks like, is going to take the lead. Keselowski leads lap 2 out of 10. Brad Keselowski, Carl is going to try to make him an AJ Allmendinger known this is his best chance. Brad Keselowski, Carl Edwards, AJ Allmendinger, your top 3 as they fly by through the S's. And you can see Keselowski, Carl Edwards, trying to see if he can make a move, but Keselowski, he's never won here at Watkins Glen, hoping to change that today. He's been really good here. Lap 3 out of 10. Carl Edwards might have a run. Keselowski all the way on the rumble strips. Keselowski and Carl Edwards battle down. And you can see now through the bus stop again. They're side by side, and we could see a battle for the lead. Carl Edwards, Keselowski battling as now they head down the front straightaway, and they stay even. Lap 4 out of 10. Carl Edwards still leading Keselowski. Allmendinger, though, he's going to make his move, and AJ Allmendinger looks like he might. And oh no, we got a wreck. David Reagan, Matt DiBenedetto, hard into the wall. BK Racing, both their cars take a hard ride into the wall here. Let's take a look at this again. Yeah, it looks like Matt DiBenedetto just turned him, I guess. So, not a good day for him. I mean, not much for him to look forward to. David Reagan as well. They've just had a tough year so far. It's just... So now we're going to restart lap 6 out of 10. And here we go. Green flag is in the air. Carl Edwards leads us down. And Tony Stewart makes a bold move, and he's going to move up to 5th. Allmendinger and Edwards are still side by side as they head down the S's. A.J. Allmendinger, Carl Edwards, who gets the acceleration. Carl Edwards now, but Allmendinger powers ahead of him. Allmendinger in a must-win situation takes the lead, and now got 7 out of 10. Allmendinger leads, and oh no, Austin Dillon hard to the wall. There's going to be a big crash. Jimmy Johnson, Casey Kane, Ricky Stenhouse, Paul Menard, and more. Big crash. Caution is out. And that was a brutal crash here at Watkins Glen. Austin Dillon went spinning, and he slammed that wall hard and got into Jimmy Johnson and others. This is going to be a very lengthy red flag. And I'm telling you, that was a very brutal wreck. The cars are stopped after a nasty crash. I mean, Austin Dillon absolutely got his cars destroyed. And you can see the safety crews are going to hope to get that cleared up. But we got to look at the replay as Austin Dillon takes a wild ride. And you have to watch this. Let's look. You see Ryan Blaney gets into him, Austin Dillon, and then into Jimmy Johnson. Look at the awful hits. Look at these guys take. Michael McDowell piled in, but look, here it is again, Austin Dillon. Johnson and Casey Kane just had nowhere to go, and they just all sort of piled in. Jimmy Johnson, he didn't really, I think they were hoping to get off since they had a win, but by Irwin Tools Cup Series rules, you can't do that. Austin Dillon, I mean, this is going to hurt him in the chase. 2 bad weeks. Paul Menard, this is another bad race for him. And Greg Biffle, oh my gosh, this has been a nightmare of a season for him. This is not going to make it any better. Ricky Stenhouse, this is certainly going to knock him out of the points race with this crash. Michael McDowell, he wasn't really in the points race. And this next guy is going to hurt a lot. Casey Kane, he was sitting pretty good ahead of that cut line. This is going to hurt him as well. And all of them are in the garage after this awful crash that takes out a bunch of cars, and this is going to cost a lot of money for these cars to fix. So that's not going to be good for them. So now it's time to restart. Lap 9 out of 10. We still have a race to go, and green flag is in the air. Allmendinger has to win this race to advance, and Keselowski goes 3 wide. Brad Keselowski, he goes 3 wide, and they're beating and banging. Allmendinger knows this is one shot to get in. They're beating and banging as they are coming down. Carl Edwards lurking. Tony Stewart in 4th. He needs to win as well. It's going to be a very interesting finish as they head down. White flag. Brad Keselowski is leading the race. Keselowski, here we go into turn 1. And look at this. The belly overshoots it. And Allmendinger spins. A.J. Allmendinger hard into the wall. But there's still a race. Edwards and Keselowski side by side. And they're beating and banging. And Edwards goes up. Tony Stewart now behind him. Does Tony Stewart have something to win? Here we go. We are heading down in the front. Tony Stewart, he's looking, he's giving a bump. He's going to push him and spin him out. Coming to the line, photo finish. Oh my goodness. What a race here at Watkins Glen. And if I believe Stewart beat Carl Edwards to the line. What a race. And I am stunned in disbelief. A.J. Allmendinger got wrecked. And it wasn't good for him. And then Keselowski also got crashed. And you see Hamlin, Kyle Busch also were collected. Look at this. He gets into Allmendinger, runs him up the track. Allmendinger goes off of Tony Stewart and crashes. And then you can see here, Keselowski pushes Edwards up. And then you can see Tony Stewart right behind him, knowing he has one shot to make this chase. And Stewart dives it in, goes to the outside, and he spins him out, and Keselowski hits the wall, comes back into Hamlin and Kyle Busch. Doesn't really affect their finishing results, but wow. And look at this, Kevin Harvick here to greet Tony Stewart after his win. And Stewart's going to burn it down, possibly for the final time. Tony Stewart wins. You can see Kurt Busch and Danica Patrick are also here to greet Tony Stewart. So congrats to the 14 of Ryan Blust for winning the race at Watkins Glen, and you are in the chase. Look at this result. It's Tony Stewart, Carl Edwards in second. Good points day. Good points days for Denny Hamlin and Joey Logano. And Martin Truex Jr. as well. Jeff Gordon with a 12th. You can see just a lot of guys that are had good runs today. Kyle Larson also in 6th. And then back here, we have a lot of chaos that endured. We have, Casey Mears, Chris Buescher, Regan Smith, and then there's the guys, Austin Dillon, Jimmy Johnson, Casey Kane, Greg Biffle, and Ricky Stenhouse, who were all taken out in that nasty crash, and that hurt them a lot. And then you can see Paul Menard and Michael McDowell as well, and the 2 BK Racing cars rounded out. So here are your point standings. Tony Stewart locks himself in, and this shakes up the point standings. Casey Kane, Austin Dillon are now out. Joey Logano is the bubble driver now. So very interesting. We have some big names that are on this bubble in the chase. It could get interesting these last 2 races of the Irwin Tools Cup Series regular season. And so that's it. Tony Stewart, your winner here. Race number 6, we're taking a rare visit to Iowa Speedway, where it's going to be a short track duel. We're going to see if someone can shake up this chase field even more and possibly knock a favorite out of the chase like Tony Stewart did as he wins at Watkins Glen. And Tony Stewart has submitted himself as one of the better drivers in NASCAR, and Watkins Glen submitted itself as one of the better tracks with this amazing finish. So I hope you enjoyed today's race, and there's a lot to look forward to in these next 2 races as we're going to round out the chase field and decide which 12 teams and drivers will compete.